Welcome to the Farzi Show. My name is Mark Farzi. This little program we do called the Farzi Show, presented by Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. Ladies and gentlemen, I am beside myself with joy. I watched an Eagles game last night in awe. In awe of your quarterback, of our quarterback, of our defense, of our defensive coordinator. What? Of our defense in general, the offensive line. I cannot believe how good Darius Slay was last night. I cannot believe, you know what? He's no longer Slay. He's no longer just Slay. He's Mr. Slay. I'm going to put some respect on that man's name. It was like haymakers last night. And it wasn't like a huge blowout, 24-7. It wasn't like what you were watching maybe in Buffalo, for instance, what they were doing. But what you were watching in Philadelphia was just domination. It was answers. Anytime there was a mistake, the Eagles were able to answer and have accountability for their own mistake. Blocked a field goal. How about an interception by Darius Slay, Mr. Slay? Avonte Maddox stepped up, had a big interception in the red zone. Darius Slay capped it off. Mr. Slay capped it off with another interception in the end zone. I was absolutely blown away with how the Philadelphia Eagles played this game last night. It was beyond my wildest expectations. My score I picked yesterday was 31-24. And the Eagles outdid that by the way they dominated this game on both sides of the football. The quarterback played, I think, his most controlled game that I've ever seen him play. From start to finish, most controlled game I have ever seen Jalen Hurts play. The game plan was on point. When you see an opening drive that went the way that went for the Eagles, it was like, okay, all right, well, the first 15 are well scripted, well executed, which is even better. And Jalen Hurts was responsible for 76 of those 87 yards. That's pretty amazing. When it comes to either running the football or throwing the ball, he was all over it. He was accurate. He surveyed the field. He went through his progressions. And it was all because the offensive line, in the rare occasion that the Minnesota Vikings decided to blitz, they picked it up. And it was the number one thing I wanted to see in this game was the ability to give Jalen Hurts time to throw the football. One of the biggest travesties of week one was that I didn't get to see a lot of that. I didn't get to see Jalen Hurts drop back and survey the field and throw the ball with accuracy. It was like everything was, oh no, emergency button. Hit the emergency button. Again. Hit it again. Every play in week one was like that. This play was, oh, there's a guy playing quarterback, not a running back that throws. And that's what Jalen Hurts was forced to play in week one. That's the way he was forced to play. This, you got to see the skills. You got to see the comfort level. You got to see not just going through progressions, but his own personal progression. And what you saw him mature, how he matured through this offseason. I wanted to see accuracy. Oh, man, I saw accuracy. I was seeing his receivers sit down in zone coverage, and he would hit him between the numbers. I would see guys drifting past man-to-man coverage and him putting it in their hip pockets. The Quez Watkins throw was miraculous for the 56-yard touchdown. Jalen Hurts drops back. When you see him start to load up on that pass, Watkins still has two defensive backs around him. And Jalen Hurts knew where he was going. He knew where he was going to be, saw a wide open spot on the field. That's surveying the field and knowing where to go. And the defensive back and safety went with Dallas Goedert, and he had the touchdown over the top. And he just had that pose with his arms crossed, staring at the sideline like, how you like me now? Dare I say, you like that? That was knowing where the ball was supposed to be before it was there. That was knowing where to put it before your receiver was there. That was taking and reading what the defense was giving you. And that's just one example, most likely the best example you can give Jalen Hurts for knowing and taking what the defense was about to give him. And he took it with authority. And Quez Watkins got into that end zone for the second touchdown of the day. Another example, do hear Nick Siriani talk about it a little bit later in the show. Before the half, I was surprised. Let's just say this. I was surprised that the Eagles were going to allow their offense to be as aggressive as they were before the half let out. And as fate would have it, oh boy, it paid off because they were able to get another field goal before they went into halftime to get to 24 points, obviously, right before the half with Jake Elliott's 38-yard field goal. There were two plays that Jalen Hurts made. Now, they got the ball back, I want to say, they got the ball back with 1:21 left. So rather than just kind of kill time and see what would happen, they were aggressive. No better example than the two last throws of the first half by Jalen Hurts. Both of them went to Dallas Goedert. The first one, rock back, found Dallas Goedert 19 yards. Boom. The next one found Dallas Goedert again for 24 yards. That's an example of him surveying the field, of Jalen Hurts surveying the field. And Nick Siriani talked about it after the game. More so than progressions, that's a pre-snap read that was supposed to go to Devontae Smith. Jalen Hurts looked at what the defense was giving him and said, no, this is okay. This one's got to go to Goedert. And he hit Goedert, sets up the field goal. Eagles go up 24-7 going into halftime. I was absolutely blown away by this game. I was amazed by what you were seeing from the Philadelphia Eagles in this game. Again, I can't say it enough. It went beyond what I expected. And on the other side of things, let's just jump into it. I mean, Jonathan Gannon, in all seriousness, it was unbelievable. I'm going to tell you right now, these are the Farzi Five for today's game, last night's game. We'll go over some of the points that I made yesterday about things I wanted to see, and we'll kind of go through a checklist here. But in all honesty, I just want to praise what I saw yesterday, and it's going to start with on the defensive side of the ball. From 5 to 1. These are usually I just kind of vent my emotions. These are going to go in order of importance as far as I was concerned. But going into this game last night, coming out of this game, I should say, TJ Edwards. I don't know the last time I had a linebacker. I don't know the last time I had a linebacker as my praising top 5, our Farzi Five for this week after they beat the Minnesota Vikings. But TJ Edwards was all over the field yesterday. He was in on 10 tackles, led the team in combo tackles. He was getting into the backfield. He was getting after the quarterback. He played a very aggressive football game, and most plays, more so than anybody, ended with him. So he's number 5 right there. TJ Edwards, a linebacker, way to be, young fella. After that, now I talked about Slayberry, okay? I talked about Slayberry yesterday. Slayberryox, something. Avonte Maddox, have yourself a night, my friend, because you came up with a huge interception in this game. It was the middle interception of the 3 interceptions the Eagles defense came up to, and he was all over. He was in on 8 tackles yesterday as well. There was 1 or 2 plays where Justin Jefferson got the better of him, but he always made sure to come back and make a play for this defense and help them to win. So he came up with the interception. Avonte Maddox, no question about it, comes up last night having himself a game with that interception. Helped the Eagles seal things up. And it was another response to another mistake that the Eagles made on the, I think it was on the blocked field goal. He came back the other way, came up with an interception. So that was pretty awesome. Slay comes in at number 3. Now, why wasn't Slay higher than 3? He had 2 interceptions. He shut down Justin Jefferson. Why wasn't he higher? Well, here's why. I already know that Darius Slay, Mr. Slay, is one of the best defensive backs in all of football. I know he is one of the best cornerbacks in all of football. You know what he did yesterday? Solidified that idea. With 2 interceptions and against Justin Jefferson, one-on-one, when he was on Justin Jefferson, he was targeted 6 times. He only caught 1 ball in those 6 chances. And somehow, magically, that just translates to a 0.0 passer rating. So aside from just having 2 interceptions, which is all that really matters, and icing the game with that final interception, he shut down the number 1 target. They had to go to Irv Smith, who had a horrible drop, by the way. They had to go to Irv Smith Jr. as their number 1 wide receiver because Slay, Bradbury, and Maddox were making things, and the defensive line were making things so damn uncomfortable for Kirk Cousins. I absolutely blown away by that performance. Mr. Slay coming in at number 3. At number 2, I had to rewind the television. I had to go to the DVR, go back and say, did I just hear what I thought I heard from Troy Aikman? And sure enough, I did. The quote from Troy Aikman in last night's game that stuck out to me above anything else was this: another timely blitz by Jonathan Gannon. That's it. That's the quote. Another timely blitz by Jonathan Gannon. Another, meaning there was like many, and this was just another one. Another timely, but I have to say it to just convince myself that it actually happened, because it did. And Troy Aikman was accurate. Very accurate. I couldn't believe what I told you guys last week. Through 3 quarters of football, I was looking at John, and I said this to Seth Joyner yesterday during the pregame show on the Jacob Media YouTube channel. I said, I was amazed by what I saw from Jonathan Gannon in the first 3 quarters of that game. And Seth was like, yeah, they were playing more aggressive. Like, for Seth Joyner to say it, and he's always on, you got to be more aggressive. Like, more so than anybody, and go figure, the guy played for Buddy. But you saw that for 4 quarters last night. Just complete aggression. And he kept dialing up the blitzes. You saw C.D. Deuce get in the backfield there. You saw Avonte Maddox getting into the backfield there. You certainly saw your defensive line get after it. Josh Sweat had himself a sack. Fletcher Cox had another sack in last night's game. Like, you saw aggression. You saw, oh my God, mind-blowing, trying to force a quarterback into mistakes. One of my biggest problems coming out of the Vikings week 1 matchup against the Green Bay Packers was that Kirk Cousins started the game 11 for 13. 11 for 13. He was allowed to get comfortable in that pocket. Nobody was in his face. There was no pass rush. He was very comfortable in that pocket. He was able to establish that rhythm. You can't let a pocket passer like Kirk Cousins get comfortable in the pocket, because that's where he starts just picking you apart. That's where he can start having fun. That's where he can start hitting Justin Jefferson. That's where he can start getting on the same page as wide receivers and develop that rhythm as the game goes on. The Eagles did not allow that last night. Through any point in the game, they did not allow that last night. And that's all on Jonathan Gannon. He's got talent. He's using it right. He's using Maddox right. He's using Bradbury right. He's obviously using Darius Slay right. He did it all right. But he's got to be able to dial up that blitz and let the quarterback know the pressure's coming and never let him get comfortable. Another timely blitz by Jonathan. Please, more of it. And guess what? You got the Commanders coming up. Same thing to Carson Wentz. Make that guy make mistakes. Make him that hero G that he's still got. Make him feel like he can still make that play. Oh, guess what? You're not gonna make the play. You know why? Because he's on his back, baby. I couldn't believe it. You want to talk about haymakers? It was haymakers at Kirk Cousins last night. And even though they only got home twice, the fact that they still did it, to move him off his mark, to make him try to throw on the run, to shorten his decision-making time, to get him off his mark, that was what you want to see on a much more consistent basis from Jonathan Gannon. Number 1, without question, it's an easy answer, Jalen Hurts. That's how a franchise quarterback plays football, the way Jalen Hurts played last night. And I'm not, take away his runs, okay, 2 rushing touchdowns, okay. We all know he can do that. Like, I have Darius Slay number 3 on this list. We all know Jalen Hurts can run the football well. I wanted to see him take what the defense was giving him. I wanted him to survey the field. I wanted to see him deliver the ball with accuracy. I got what I asked for and then some last night. And I don't like when I'm previewing games and start focusing on the quarterback, because we certainly do that enough, and it's more about the process, how it's more about the result. Not going into the game, what you want to see. I mean, we all want to see an accurate quarterback. Okay, it's not breaking news. But what you saw from Jalen Hurts last night was nothing short of spectacular. And the thing I like about it is that you go into the halftime and you don't score in the second half. I couldn't believe it. I thought they were going to keep on pouring it on. And unfortunately, they weren't able to do that. They left some meat on the bone, right? And Jalen Hurts focused on that after the game. But for him, 26 of 31, 333 yards and a touchdown. Did throw the 1 interception. I don't even think he saw Kenny Gainwell. I mean, it hit Kenny Gainwell in the hands, so it's not on Jalen Hurts, but he put that ball into a big mass of people. I don't even know how he saw where it was going, but he did. Kenny Gainwell, bottom line, has to catch that ball. He didn't. It goes the other way. Eagles are able to still take advantage of getting an interception on the end of that one, so I'm all good with that. But it was an incredible game with Jalen Hurts and what you saw in this game. And it reminded me of another Monday Night Football game. Now, that game was total, utter domination. What was it, 58, 59 points the Eagles put up on the Washington football team? Had a different name back then. But that was another Monday night game, and that was against Donovan McNabb, who was the quarterback of Washington at the time. And Michael Vick put up some insane numbers. And wouldn't you know it, and I know this stat's all over the place, but last night, I just want to make sure I get this right. Last night, Jalen Hurts becomes the second quarterback. Listen to this. 300 pass yards, a pass touchdown, 2 rushing touchdowns. Eagles single game history. Only one other guy has done that, and that was Michael Vick in that 2010 matchup on Monday night against the Washington football team. Go figure. Go figure. But Hurts last night, 333 yards, 1 pass touchdown, two rushing touchdowns, 333 yards through the air is insane. Watching him hit his receivers, watching him lead his receivers, watching him on slant routes lead his receivers perfectly, watch where the defense was lined up, throw a ball that would avoid the linebacker that was trying to cover the slant route. Even if it was a little bit behind, it was put in a spot that, oh my God, only his wide receiver could get it. Jalen Hurts was a franchise quarterback last night. The way you become a franchise quarterback is having those games more and more and more. There were a couple instances last night, probably his second rushing touchdown, where I was like, oh my God, Hurts, no. He was going to run out of bounds on his second rushing touchdown, and he ended up cutting it back upfield and going in for the touchdown and somehow keeping his knees off the ground and extending the football across the plane. When I saw him cut back in, I went, no, please, no, don't do that. And yes, touchdown. Like, it was one of those situations. No, don't do that. Okay, cool. It was one of those situations. But running the football is great. We know he can do it. But I was just blown away by how well he was executing in his passing game yesterday. It felt like the best game we have watched Jalen Hurts play from a passing standpoint. The Denver Broncos game last year sticks out to me the most about how he played in the first half. And that's why I wasn't getting super, I was excited. I was enjoying the hell out of it, but it was one half of football. And after the Sunday that we experienced with what happened to the Ravens, with the Dolphins coming back, what happened to the Browns, with the Jets coming back, those types of games, it was rattling around in my brain. And I was like, oh God, this is going to be, it's a crazy week already. I'm enjoying, 2 quarters of football, really loved what I saw. But Jalen Hurts yesterday, the way he led this offense, I was simply amazed by it. Now you got another tough test. Now you got to go to Washington. Now you go to Landover, Maryland. Now you got to face the Washington football team in a short week. This is a huge test, not just because it's a divisional game, but because it's a short week and because you're coming off such a high. One of the things that I really enjoyed about this week leading up to this game, this Monday night game, was, if you remember, Jason Kelce, right before the season started, when he was asked about expectations, Jalen Hurts called it rat poison. Jason Kelce was asked about how being comfortable, and he was asked about Nick Siriani being comfortable in his second year, and he went off on this long tangent about how you can never be comfortable in the NFL. Once you're comfortable, that's where you're in trouble. One of the things that stuck out to me about that rant was when Jason Kelce said, after a loss, you pay more attention to the mistakes because you lost. But when you win, sometimes you gloss over things. Oh, well, you won. We won, so we're good to go. No, there's no problem. Oh, we won the game. No problem. All right, that's fine. But then things start to get swept under the rug. Then things start to build up if you're not correcting those mistakes. The next thing you know, they're making those mistakes more, and you're making those mistakes on a bigger stage or at more important times in the game. When I listened to Jonathan Gannon after last week's win over the Lions, when I listened to Nick Sirianni after last week's win, I got the feeling that they watched the film against the Lions like it was after a loss. And they didn't rest on their laurels. They didn't make any excuses because they won. Jonathan Gannon was talking about the game last week like he lost that game. And it felt like the Eagles survived the game more so than they won the game. And they were up 17 points at one point in that game. It was thank God we didn't lose. Like, that was more of the feeling I got from this team after that Lions game. And they took that and they applied it to this game. Jonathan Gannon, no better message than in that fourth quarter when you saw the haymakers coming, when you saw the blitz coming, almost on every down, it felt like, trying to get Kirk Cousins off his spot to make sure that there was going to be no. Because when you got an offense like that, when you got Justin Jefferson, when you got Adam Thielen, when you got Dalvin Cook, when you got guys like that, guess what? you're going to be able to have some instant offense, quick strike offense. Next thing you know, oh, shoot, it's 24-20 now. It's 24-17. Oh, like it can get close really quick when you got quick strike guys like that. And he didn't allow it last night. He didn't allow anything to develop. That was all after last week's game. If last week's game doesn't end the way it does, I don't think you see as aggressive a team as you did in last night's win. So seeing that game play out the way it did in week 1, and then listening to the mindset of this team as the week progressed, they looked at last week's film and went, yeah, that ain't happening again. And boy, were they aggressive when they finished out that game. I was absolutely amazed. To wrap it up, when it comes to the Farzi Five for this week, again, we go TJ Edwards, we go Avonte Maddox, we go Darius Slay, Mr. Slay, we go Jonathan Gannon, and we go Jalen Hurts. I just can't get over it. And they just got to keep pouring it on because the Giants look like a much better football team than what we saw last year. The Cowboys just might be able to maintain without Dak Prescott with Cooper Rush running things. Washington, hey, look, they were able to really take control of Carson Wentz. The Detroit Lions were last week. They were able to get to him, put him on his butt a number of times. Aiden Hutchinson just went off with 3 sacks. If you want to talk about aggression, this is the game to get aggressive as well. This brand of football from Gannon and this brand of football from Jalen Hurts, to have that type of scheme and aggression defensively and have this kind of control offensively, you want to talk about it. This is the consistency you need from the Philadelphia Eagles as the season goes on. And that's one of the most exciting things because I can't say it enough. I don't feel like we got a fair opportunity to really evaluate Jalen Hurts after week 1. Everything was emergency. Everything was break the glass, got to hit the button. This game, you really got to see a guy who worked his tail off in the offseason. You got to see a guy who was another year into this scheme, facing a defense, by the way, that he's familiar with because it's a very similar scheme as we've talked about with Jonathan Gannon. It's all that Vic Fangio school of thought. But seeing Jalen Hurts be able to do what he did last night and be comfortable in the pocket and deliver the football as accurately as he did, it gives me good vibes that all that hard work in the offseason is going to pay off through the 17 games that they're going to play this season. That's what I needed to see from Jalen Hurts. I thought I saw improvement in week 1. I've told you that before, but we all saw the improvement in week 2. I would like to see this offense finish things off, and that's not my own criticism. That is the criticism of Jalen Hurts, and that's what you want from your quarterback. Let's jump into our post-game locker room report because there's some great things. I absolutely loved seeing James Harden at the game. I loved seeing Bryce Harper at the game on his day off, right before they started 2-game series at the Blue Jays. Bradley Cooper is at the game up in the owner's box as per usual, so that was cool. You love seeing other Philly athletes though coming out and supporting these teams. It's great. And last night was a perfect example of that. And of course, after the first pick by Slay, he runs over with the football and he gives it to James Harden. I just love seeing that type of camaraderie. Yes, to some people that don't enjoy that, yeah, it would be nice if he gave it to a kid too. If he's not, though, he's going to give it to James Harden. Somebody, fine. Making another athlete show that respect. I'm fine with that as well. But last night, absolutely loved seeing Harper there. Loved seeing James Harden there. Looked like everyone was having a great time. Without further ado, let's jump into our locker room report. But first, let me tell you about my man Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. The other corner of 8th and Walnut, right there on Jewelers Row. For over 40 years, Steven has been in the love business of Philadelphia, helping people fall in love and get engaged. Ready for Love diamond engagement ring standing by at the ready. So it's not just a clever name. And Steven guarantees many things. 2 most important things. 1, you're going to get treated like family. The other, you know what he guarantees? The perfect price. Each and every day, the perfect price. That's what Steven Singer guarantees. Now, what does that mean? That means that you go to another jeweler, he's going to mark things way up just to mark it down a couple of bucks, or she's going to mark it down just a couple of bucks. Make you feel like you want something. Oh, you're a great negotiator. No. You don't want that pressure. You don't want that haggling pressure. You just want to go in there. You want to concentrate on the beautiful diamond ring you want to buy, the beautiful diamond tennis bracelet you want to buy. Steven Singer will take care of you at Steven Singer Jewelers with the perfect price. So you know the person next to you is getting the same deal that you're getting, because that's the perfect price guarantee. You don't have to worry about some coupon or anything like that or some promo code. everybody gets the perfect price each and every day. Steven Singer Jewelers, one place, one price, the perfect price each and every day. That's Steven Singer. IHateStevenSinger.com, always fast and free shipping at IHateStevenSinger.com. This is what I want to hear. After you escape a game against the Lions, you escape with a victory, I want guys talking about the negative. Oh, we're lucky to win this one. We got to get more attention on the quarterback. We got to be more aggressive. We took our foot off the gas, whatever. I want to hear that. I want to hear you guys being hypercritical of yourselves. Jalen Hurts, after just an insane day under center, was critical of his offense. Here's where he talked about the performance in the second half. Talked about everybody coming together, playing well, and all that. It's great. But talked about how they left some opportunity out there on the field. Jalen Hurts postgame.
Just trying to do my job, execute my assignments, get the ball to where it's supposed to be, execute the technique of the play. And it was very efficient tonight, and that's the type of football that we want to play. We want to play consistently. We want to be that way consistently. Like I said, I'm still thinking about how we finished the game, and how we finished the game is not a reflection of how we started the game, and that's something that we have to learn from and build off of, and be better at moving forward.
Hypercritical. I love it. I love every second of it. And you didn't get in the end zone in the second half. That sucks. But it's wild. I look at the final score of this game and I go, it didn't feel like that. Like I joke about, well, half kidding. There's no moral victories, but I say there's moral losses, right? I look at a lot of games that can be wins or are wins and go, it doesn't feel great. This game not only felt like a win, despite not scoring in the second half, this game felt like even more of a blowout than 24-7. Like I felt so much more comfortable in this game, even more so than when the Eagles were up 17 points against the Lions. Like I even with the quick strike offense that the Vikings have, I felt like this game was in hand from get-go. I felt like every time, whether it was a blocked field goal, whether it was a turnover, whether it was a missed opportunity, and the Vikings had an opportunity to get in this game, I felt like the Eagles defense was going to step up and make a play. And Smith had that horrible drop, you remember, in the second quarter? Whether it was them not being able to execute or the Eagles stepping up and making the play for themselves, like the 3 interceptions, like a sack fumble that was forced, whatever it was, it felt like the Eagles were going to have the answer. And even if the Vikings jumped back on the football field and got that touchdown, the Eagles came right back and took control of the football game. And it felt like that was the way this game was going to go. I don't know if it was because of the home opener. I don't know if it was because y'all were noisy AF down at Lincoln Financial Field. Kirk Cousins' hand over his ears. Oh, God, I can't hear anything. I don't know what it was, but it felt like no matter what, the Eagles were going to take control of this game. Even in the second half, they didn't score. And I still felt like they were never going to lose control of this game. I think the main reason for that was because Jonathan Gannon had the perfect scheme dialed up. And this team was jacked up to play. They were jacked up to play against the Minnesota Vikings. And Darius Slay was certainly ready to go against his opponent, Justin Jefferson, last night. I rattled off the numbers for you a second ago. Here is Jalen Hurts after the game as well, talking about getting more comfortable in this offense. Again, looking at the numbers, 26 for 31, 333 yards, 53-yard touchdown pass it was to Quez Watkins. Pretty insane. But here's Jalen Hurts after the game talking about how he's getting more comfortable in this offense.
It's the same things that I've always said. It all comes with time. And as time goes, you find more comfort in what you're doing. You find more of a niche of what that looks like for you. And I think as an offense, as a collective group, coach, Siriani, Stike, Brian, myself, we put so much work in to trying to make things efficient and trying to be efficient. I said it earlier, no man is an island. You must draw your strength from others. I can't perform without the other 10 on the field. And same on the other side. They need me to do my job for them to eat. So it's a collective group. It was a big team win, a big-time team win. It's something that we'll definitely enjoy, but we have a short week and we're headed to D.C. So we'll enjoy it for a little bit and get ready for the next opponent.
See if we can get that going there. There we are. How you doing? Jalen Hurts, again, talking about leaving a lot of meat on the bone, but at the same time, just being more comfortable in this offense. And that's exactly what you need to see from him. And you need to hear from him as his career goes on, because I feel like he is just getting a much better understanding. And I know a lot of people wanted to judge him just after last year, saying that, definitely not that guy. My feeling was, okay, if you know for a fact that Jalen Hurts right now, if you know for a fact that Jalen Hurts is not the guy, if you know that right now, whatever you're doing with your life, if you're not working in an NFL front office, you're wasting your time, because you have the greatest eye in the history of eyes when it comes to scouting NFL talent. Because I thought Jalen Hurts, obviously, bottom line, has talent. I felt like he obviously had a great work ethic, has a great work ethic. And those are two things I will never bet against: talent and work ethic. Because if Jalen Hurts is going to look at himself and his performance from last year, even last week, and go, I need to be better, and then he comes out like that, okay. Even from last year, through the offseason, works his tail off, refines his talent, and on top of that, gets his second go-around in the same offensive scheme since high school, for the first time since high school, playing in the same offensive scheme. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and bet on that guy. And it's not just a work ethic, it's also because he's just a base level of talent that I think is pretty high. And last night he showed that off rather well. And this offense could have kept it going more. They should have kept it going more. You want to see him play the full 4 quarters. And you listen to a guy like that talk about how comfortable he can be and how comfortable he was, and how everything comes together, and how it wasn't just him. It was guys like A.J. Brown stepping up to make plays for him. It was Devontae Smith getting involved. And yeah, I think if you had to bet who the first ball was going to go to, I think Devontae Smith was a pretty good bet. And that's who ended up getting the football last night. Dallas Goedert very much involved in the game plan last night. Miles Sanders helped to close out this football game as time went on. You just felt like everybody was one cohesive unit as this game went on. Now, I mentioned a second ago, you had some pretty big stars in the crowd last night. Bradley Cooper from the Hollywood thing. You also had James Harden out there, and you had Bryce Harper with his wife, Kayla, I believe, out there as well. This is pretty cool. I really like this answer last night. Jalen Hurts was asked about kind of the atmosphere and having those stars in the name. I believe it was Jamie Apodi of 6ABC who asked this question. Here is Hurts on having the stars out in Philly supporting one another.
Now that's nice. That's nice. That's Philly. You know what I mean? That's Philly. I know the support I have for the Sixers. Talking to Bryce, meeting the process. You know what I'm saying? Supporting them. Having that type of environment in the city. That's a winning culture, and it's great to see those guys out there tonight. That's what Philly is. That's what Philly's all about.
I don't know if this kid's the kid in me, the fact that I'm from here, I grew up here, all that. I love that. I love when guys that we root for in other departments across the city with other teams are there in the stands. And you could say, I know some people poo-poo it by, it's pandering. Yeah, please. Yeah, more of it. But more pandering. Yeah, please. Keep it coming, baby. I don't get tired of it. James Harden being at the game is awesome. Darius Slay recognizing that James Harden's at the game and wanting to give him a football and show that respect, that's awesome. Bryce Harper being at the game, awesome. The Mike Trout thing for me is kind of played out because I know he's never going to play here. But plus I think he's got enough footballs. And I don't know if it's going to continue without Carson Wentz here, but whatever. You get my idea. Bradley Cooper, yeah, it's great. Hollywood, fine. Yeah, he's from here. Eagles fan, sitting in the owner's box, great. But there is something about the guys we supporting one another that I absolutely love. That's pandering. Yes, more pandering. Was the guy with the name and the hair and the face? Adam Driver. The meme of him in Star Wars, whatever the one that was. I watched, had COVID, and I watched all the Star Wars months ago. It was the more meme when they're just like trying to kill the guy. I don't want to ruin it for anyone who's trying to kill the guy, and he's like, more. That's what I felt like last night. More. Give me one more Philadelphia athlete in the stands. Give me one more of it. Pandering, please. It's all the pandering. How much pandering you want? How much you got? One more pop culture reference. I want all the bacon and eggs that you have. Wait. Wait. I worry that what you heard was bring me a lot of bacon and eggs. I want all the bacon and eggs. Ron Swanson. Anyway, enough of that. I was just, yes, please, more of it. So that's Jalen Hurts talking about having the celebrities in the stands. Now this is pretty cool. Do I have the picture here? I have the picture here. For the people on the podcast, I'll be showing a picture. Check this out. This is after the game. James Harden tweeted out the photo of him and Darius Slay after the game. Darius Slay signed the football for James Harden. James Harden goes home with a nice souvenir. First Eagles game was lit. Keep balling, bro. James Harden to big play 24 Slay. Yes, again, all the pandering in the world. Slay on how that transaction went down.
Honestly, I didn't even know he was there in the game until they put him on the Jumbotron. And he one of my favorite players. And, but shoot, I'm like, why not? You know what I'm saying? I get a chance to meet James Harden, a Hall of Fame basketball player. If I make a play tonight, definitely a pick. I got to give him the ball, man, because he real respected in the league. One of my favorite, like I said. So I was like, hey, it's a good opportunity.
I can listen to Darius Slay all the live long day. I really could. I freaking love that guy. But he sees him at the game. Like, that's a little extra added motivation for him. Not that he needed it, because, and this is great, talking about Justin Jefferson after the game. And look, I said before the game on the pregame show that Justin Jefferson is going to get his. Well, you know what's funny? He didn't. I said that Dalvin Cook was going to get his. And you know what's funny? He didn't. You know why? Mainly because Darius Slay is awesome. Jonathan Gannon had a great scheme. James Bradbury played a perfect game. Avonte Maddox was absolutely fantastic in this game. You had a pass rush that was bringing it. You had a defensive line that was clicking on all cylinders. You were just getting things done defensively. And that's why you didn't see the big outputs from Kirk Cousins and company as this game went on. Cousins, 221 yards in this game. Jefferson, 48 yards in total. Adam Thielen had 52 yards. Your leading receiver for the Vikings was Adam Thielen again. And then when you look at running the football, Dalvin Cook had 17 yards. Holy pots and pans. Dalvin Cook, just 17 yards in this game. I just can't just keep thinking about. This is what we want to see continuously from Jalen Hurts. This is what we want to see continuously from Jonathan Gannon. But Slay talked about the matchup going up against Darius Slay. Or excuse me, Darius Slay talked about the matchup going up against Justin Jefferson last night. Here that is.
I mean, I ain't going to say it like that, but because I'm always eager to go. I'm always ready to go at all time. I don't take no matchup lightly. But he is one of the best in the world. And, shoot, I'm one of the best in the world, too. So I was looking forward to the matchup.
Iron sharpens iron, from what I understand. He's one of the best in the world, and I'm one of the best in the world, too. So let's have at it. Great game. Just an unbelievable game. One person we haven't heard from yet, we'll hear from him right now, is Nick Siriani. Because Nick Siriani talked about the progression of his quarterback. And I know he's got to go back and he's got to watch the film, but there was a couple of plays in general, and I mentioned them earlier in the show, and they were just before the half, where Jalen Hurts led the team down the field, and they were able to get a field goal to go into halftime 24-7 and just be all the more in control as they went into halftime. I expected at the minute 21 mark for the Eagles to kind of be a little conservative. And you know what? How dare me? How dare me to think so little of Nick Sirianni and Shane Steichen and their confidence level and their quarterback and their offense. Because with a minute 24 left in the game, the Eagles decide, you know what? Let's keep it going. They get the ball on their own 5-yard line. They go 8 plays, 75 yards, and they set up a field goal for Jake Elliott to nail, and he does just that. There were 2 big plays on that game, or on that drive. Both of them were down to Dallas Goedert, and both of them involved Jalen Hurts sitting in the pocket, surveying the field, even when they broke the huddle, surveying the field, recognizing coverage, and executing to perfection. Here's Nick Sirianni on how that play and the rest of the night played out for Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, that was a huge play. We had a timeout, and with 15 seconds left, That was the one that obviously got us in the field goal range to get those 3 points at the end of the half. So he was in complete control that whole drive. And I thought that play was outstanding, right? When a guy makes a play with a little bit of presence in his face and makes that type of throw, I mean that's a huge play. Read the coverage perfectly, went with the plays. We ran that play earlier in the drive, and Devontae. It was slightly different, but the ball went to Devontae. Then you get a different coverage, and it goes to Dallas. So, that's just being in complete control and taking what the defense gives you, and it was a big-time play by him that got us points.
More so than any run he had, and more so than any actual throw, what he was doing pre-snap and even pre-throw, that's where the maturity came in. That's where the improvement came in from Jalen Hurts. That's a guy that you want to see be the franchise quarterback for the foreseeable future. I said before this season, I think Jalen Hurts is going to have a year that is going to solidify that contract and solidify the idea that he is the franchise quarterback here in Philadelphia. You know how he does that? He goes out there and he does it again. I mean, you really look at these first two games, and the numbers you can't compare. They're totally different numbers. But last night versus week 1 against the Lions, they don't win either of these games without their quarterback playing the way they played. I heard the rumblings after week 1. Oh, he ran too much. Yeah, he ran for his life. Like, there's a difference. It wasn't like he was looking to run. I thought there was a couple of plays last night where he did look to run. That second touchdown run was probably the best example of that. And I thought, after that play, he was really feeling himself. In that play, he was also feeling himself. Like, he was really in a great rhythm. Nothing could go wrong. And usually, one of the things I love about Jalen Hurts is he's extremely smart with the football. Like, he doesn't do the thing that Carson Wentz did so often, which was, no, there's another play here. I'm going to make it. Fumble, interception, whatever. Jalen Hurts doesn't do that. When he cut back in on that second touchdown run, and like I said earlier, I was like, oh, no, don't just get out of bounds. Okay, cool, touchdown. That's un-Jalen Hurts-like, but he made the play. There were a couple of the runs he had later in the game that I felt were of that same ilk. But week 1, they don't win that game without the way Jalen Hurts played. Week 2, last night against the Vikings, they don't win that game without the way Jalen Hurts played. They might have a better chance of winning that game because the defense was so unbelievably on point. But you had a quarterback that was phenomenally accurate, that was running the football, that was delivering the football well. And I think maybe even more so than that Quez Watkins throw for the 53-yard touchdown. I think called a 56 earlier. 53-yard touchdown. Those two plays that Dallas Goedert set up that field goal as time was running out in the first half, I think might have even been bigger, just to go out on a really great note going into halftime. So yeah, blown away by all things Jalen Hurts, Jonathan Gannon, Nick Siriani, and Shane Steichen deserve a ton of credit for the game plan that went into this game, obviously, because when you see them come out the way they did in that first drive and they go 11 plays, 87 yards, and they cap it off with that touchdown run by Jalen Hurts, his first of the night, that is something special. And by the way, that reminds me of one thing. The Minnesota Vikings, I haven't noticed anybody else do this. It looked like on kickoffs, they were intentionally kicking the ball short of the end zone and popping it up so they could go down on kickoff coverage and get them in worse field position. Why don't more people do that? Why don't more teams do that? Instead of guaranteeing, okay, they'll start on their 25-yard line, you pop it up, you get time to run under it, you could constantly start them out a couple of yards further. Is it worth the risk of injury? I think so. It's because you could also force them with enough guys tackling them. Maybe they actually fumble the ball. You get the ball back and score a touchdown. But that was something interesting that I saw last night that I think might become a trend eventually in the NFL. Let me tell you right now about the great people at Manscaped, ladies and gentlemen. Manscaped, the leader in below-the-waist grooming. Right now, go to manscaped.com for 20% off when you use promo code Farzi. 20% off and free shipping when you use promo code Farzi at manscaped.com. 20% off and free shipping. How about that Platinum Package 4.0? Because, fellas, you want to look good everywhere, right? That's where Manscaped enters the conversation. And their Platinum Package 4.0 is the one-stop shop you'll need. It includes the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, And they come with skin-safe technology that helps reduce the risk of nicks so you can manscape with confidence and comfort. Plus, the ultra-premium body wash, 2-in-1 shampoo, conditioner, deodorant, crop preserver, anti-chafing ball deodorant. What? Yeah. But wait, there's more. Crop Reviver ball spray toner. Merry Christmas. Anti-chafing boxers and the shed travel bag that you'll be using to hold the goods that you'll use to take care of your goods from Manscaped. Manscaped.com, 20% off and free shipping with Manscaped.com, promo code Farzi. How about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's PHLSportsNation.com. Freestone Farm CBD. You like it a CBD? You want to use it a CBD? Freestone Farm CBD. 20% off with promo code Farzi. You'll absolutely love their strain menu with tropical tasting Bayox, the Clarkson, and a chart topping 24.1%, and Super CBD, which is half Hindu, Kush, and 21%. Genetics of these guys are off the charts. And they grow all their premium hemp flower in the Garden State with all organic inputs and IPM, so there's absolutely nothing synthetic from farm to jar. So do what I do, ladies and gentlemen. Freestone Farms CBD. Freestone Farms CBD.com. I told you about Mojo. Some people were hitting me up on social media. Mojo is where it is at. Check out mojo.com as well for more information, because just downloading and going to the link, by the way, you're going to have a chance at $10,000 in free shares of player stock. Mojo.com. Now, what is Mojo? Well, I'll tell you a little something about Mojo. Mojo is unbelievable. The app currently offers the NFL with over 300 skill players across quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends, and treats them like stocks. So, Devontae Smith's stock, maybe not so good in week 1. Devontae's stock week 2, very good. Jalen Hurts, okay in week 1. Jalen Hurts week 2, huge. Guy like Miles Sanders, always want to look at that stock. Dallas Goedert, looking at some of the stuff from last night, Dallas Goedert was all over the place. By the way, Jalen Hurts stock, $41.31, up from $3.34 just a week ago. Currently the 23rd highest quarterback, priced ahead of Jameis Winston, who's at $45, and Baker Mayfield at $38. So look at that. Stock rising right there, all at Mojo. Those are guys that are stocks that are up. Stephon Diggs, huge night. His stock's up as well. Stock not so good. Kirk Cousins down. He's down $3. Currently 12th highest quarterback price between Joe Flacco and Dak Prescott. Robert Woods down 89 cents. Mojo is where it's at when it comes to treating these players like stocks, because you know what? That's ultimately what we're looking at. I think it was Jonathan Papelbon in baseball years ago that just talked about us as stocks, athletes. We're all stocks out there. Mojo is where it's at when it comes to looking at 300 skilled players, quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, and looking at their stock. Dallas Goedert, hell of a game last night. Stock up. Mojo. Download the Mojo app to your phone right now. Check out all the great things that you can do with the Mojo app. Mojo, building the sports stock market where you can invest in your favorite players. Invest with what you know. Turn your sports knowledge into real money with Mojo, the sports stock market. Real stats, real value. It's absolutely unreal. Download it to your phone right now and let the games begin. Have yourself a great time with Mojo. Mojo right now is available in New Jersey on iOS, and by just downloading the app, you have a chance to win up to $10,000 in free shares in player stock. Click the link and in the description for a chance to win up to $10,000 in free shares of player stock. Must be 21 or older and physically located in New Jersey to trade on Mojo. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Let's get into our chat check and see how you wonderful people are doing on this fine morning today. Kevin leading it off for us. Good morning. Mally, good morning. April, James, good morning. Mullet, is the move complete? Are you state-bound? Stateside? Stateside. Welcome in. April, hello again. Clay, what's going on, Clay? April, I was so excited to see 4 quarters of football. Like, here's the thing. I've never felt better about my team not scoring. Like, that's the weirdest thing. Like, second half, I just want, okay, guys, keep pouring it on. Offensively speaking, they didn't do that with points, obviously. But defensively speaking, oh, they kept the hits coming, baby. They kept the hits coming. Mally, Hurts was throwing darts all night. Absolutely. Birds are 2-0 this year. When I don't watch the game, I will sacrifice considering that I feel that I'm the jinx and don't. Clay, hold on. You didn't watch the Super Bowl win for the same reason because you're the jinx? Here's where I'm at on jinxes, folks. Okay. And Clay, maybe this will help you. But you know, you do you because I don't know your situation. Maybe you are a huge jinx. But here's where I'm at. My whole life, up until I was about 26, 27 years old, the Philadelphia sports had not won anything. I grew up. The Sixers won a championship when I think I was 6 months old. I'm pseudo named after Mark Averoni, who was acquired in August of the year I was born. And I was born in September. So when I look at what's his name, the Mark Averoni guy, he inspired my name. I appreciate him. But when I look at my life up until the Sixers won, I thought I was responsible for every loss in Philadelphia, or the Sixers won. The Phillies won. I thought I was responsible. But during that 08 Phillies run, I remember like I got to wear my lucky jersey. I didn't wear my lucky jersey, and they won. Oh wait, the jersey I was wearing when they did win, I'm not wearing it again. Neither wear that jersey. Guess what? They still won. And this was like games leading up to the World Series and the World Series itself. Bottom line is, any jinx I thought I was putting into the atmosphere, it turned out to be proven false by the fact that the Phillies just won. So when the Eagles were going to the World Series, or the Eagles were going to the Super Bowl, the Phillies went to the World Series again the following year. I pretty much stopped believing in jinxes. But again, I don't know your situation. Maybe you are a jinx, Clay. Maybe. But I doubt it. April says her husband's the same way. Told him there was no way in hell he was watching the Super Bowl. April, thank you for guarding the rest of us from your jinx of a husband. Thank you. God bless you. Let's see. Clay, if I would have watched the Super Bowl, Gronk would have come down with that Hail Mary. Okay. Oh, April, yes. We'll get to some of the penalties in the how the hell do you have 3 illegal man downfield penalties? Ineligible wide receiver. How? Stay closer to the line of scrimmage, for the love of God. And by the way, Jordan Mailata got called for a couple holding penalties. He was laughing after each one of them. I thought they were pretty legitimate. Pretty legitimate. The offensive pass interference on Devontae Smith on what would have been a first down in the first quarter, was it? Checks notes. Yeah, I think it was the first quarter. Yeah, that was BS, man. Absolute BS. Would have been a first down. It was negated. Bastards. But yeah, the penalties definitely have to get cleaned up. Certainly. Mr. 89, what's up? Holding Jefferson under 50 yards is impressive, in all caps. I concur. Mike Walker, what's up, buddy? Can't have a letdown game against Washington. Got to pressure Wentz, or he'll pick us apart. Was a Carson guy till he turtles up. Jalen H is our future. Lock him up long term. Then let's go. Yeah, I hope all that is true. Here's what you got to force. Here's what you got to do against Carson Wentz. I've talked about guys in the past that you can force into making mistakes. They can do that against Carson Wentz. I still don't think that he has kicked that hero gene, that Superman gene, that no, there's still a play left in this play that's totally dead. I should totally get out of bounds, throw it away, spike the football, eat it, whatever. I don't think he'll ever be able to kick that. I think that is in his DNA. Get him to that point, and he'll play some pretty stupid football. Get him to that point, and the Eagles can take advantage of that. I think Hurts is going to show out against Wentz. April, I hope you're right, and I think you're right. Paul Keane. Oh, Paul, absolutely. Play of the game. Sipos saving a touchdown by running down the return man on the blocked field goal. If that went for 6, it could have turned the tides of the game. You're absolutely right. That was blocked field goal in the third quarter. Yeah. 24-7 at that point. Yeah, that could turn things around. That was another play, I believe, where Avonte Maddox ended up. I think it was after the blocked field goal. Avonte Maddox is the one that came up with the interception. Slay had the interception in the third quarter. Maddox had the interception later in the third quarter after the blocked field goal that helped nullify it. But yeah, Sipos, whatever they're calling him this year. Sipos, that's the play that absolutely was huge. Great play by your punter of all people. April, I know Slay wants a few of those missed interceptions back. He was so close. After the game, Devontae Smith talked to me. He was joking about Darius Slay. Those two have a great relationship. He was talking about Slay. He's like, man, you got to get on the jugs machine. You should have had at least 3 picks in last night's game. Jim Grassmere, a hangover never felt so good. Very nice. Pee Wee Herman, time to extend Slay like yesterday. I don't disagree. I think Slay was so great that Slay having 2 interceptions isn't important. You know what? I know what you mean. Anytime you're matched up against Justin Jefferson 6 times and he only gets 1 catch, that's pretty damn good. Blue City Empire Sports, congratulations to Eagles fans beating the Vikings last night. Thank you, Blue City. Blue City Empire Sports, New York Football Giants, 2-0. Philadelphia Eagles, also 2-0. That is correct. Here's what I'm going to say to you, the Blue City Empire Sports. I need to get video of Brian Dable rapping Biggie. I need that in my life. I need to see Brian Dable in the Giants locker room rapping Biggie. Because Saquon Barkley said he does it. I need to see it. It's not true unless there's photos. Video. Clay, I'm impressed that Mark can talk about manscaping with a straight face. I wouldn't be able to do it. Well, Clay, I'm a damn professional. Okay? You should have heard my Blue Chew reads. Huh? Sean Gillespie. Farzi is a professional. Manscaped ad man. It's good to be known for something. Wow. Shungun 41. I don't know why this makes me happy, but calling him Burt Cousins, I like that. I like that a lot. Thanks everybody in the chat. Great stuff. Ooh, Jim Grassmeter, all aboard the Gannon train. Wait, this just came to me. He's throwing haymakers. He's continuously being aggressive. He's sending blitzes. Dare we call the blitzes Gannon balls? No? I'll show myself out. Thank you. Beep, boop, 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 boop. Let's see. Yep, I think that's everybody. Wait, what? Random Anton had to check with the homies? We checking with the homies? What's going on with the homies? Hope the homies are well. Thanks to everybody in the chat. You guys are great as per usual. Let's get to the morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars. SkyMotorcars.com. Eagles back at it. 1 o'clock kickoff Sunday at Washington. Yes, against Carson Wentz. Yes, against Ron Rivera. I'm going to be curious to see the Ron Rivera versus Jalen Hurts setup, because Jalen Hurts has talked about how influenced he has been by that guy Cam Newton, and Ron Rivera knows Cam Newton pretty well. That's going to be an interesting matchup. I'm curious to see how that one plays out. But obviously, the lead story is the Eagles going up against Carson Wentz. Phillies, ladies and gentlemen, they're back at it tonight, starting that 2-game series at home against the Toronto Blue Jays. 6:45 start time in South Philadelphia tonight. Kyle Gibson gets to start against Ross Stripling. Ross Stripling 8-4 on the season, 2.94 ERA. Kyle Gibson coming off a fine start against the Miami Marlins. He pitched in that 6-1 victory, had himself a nice game there. Hopefully he's able to keep that going tonight when the Phillies start their series against this Toronto Blue Jays team. Toronto Blue Jays still first wild card spot in the American League. They're going up against the Phillies tonight, who, of course, have the third and final wild card spot in the National League. Now, here's the good news. The Milwaukee Brewers lost last night, so the Phillies are now 2.5 games in the playoff standings, 2.5 games in a wild card spot, and they are just still a half game behind the San Diego Padres for the second wild card spot. So let's hope the Phillies are able to keep the good vibes coming tonight. Wow. April, do I say this out loud? I'm going to say it out loud. You know why? It's okay. It's okay. It's tame. It's tame. Manscape your Gannon balls. Manscape them. You know who couldn't manscape the Gannon balls last night? The Vikings and Burt Cousins. All right. Anyway. Sean Gillespie, Gannon balls. It could work. Not homies. Not homies. Okay. I look forward to hearing what Nick Siriani has to say today after watching the film to see how good everything really was for this Eagles offense last night and what he saw from his quarterback, taking what the defense gave him for sure. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. My name is Mark Farzi. This is the Farzi Show presented by Steven Singer Jewelers. Make sure you download the Mojo app to your phone. Have yourself a good time. Jim Hyde produced the program, did a wonderful job as per usual. This is a Buzz Sports Entertainment production. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. The Eagles are 2-0. Shift gears now. Let's go Phillies before we shift gears back to the Eagles on Sunday. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Talk to you later. See ya.